All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're in Pennsylvania, so it's the middle of the winter here, and it's cold. I mean, according to this, we are below 20 degrees. So I want to make this short and sweet. We've got our buddy's 2,500 horse Coyote we assembled 2.5 years ago. It's got hundreds of passes. I think he said 9,500 plus RPM. On the dyno, they ran 30 pound of boost and made like 1,960 wheel on a 100-degree day. He said down the track he's ran 40 to 50 pounds. I know it traps in that car, it's 3,600 pounds. I know it traps almost 200, like 197, 198. So we're curious to see how it's going. I finally talked him into doing a refresh on it. We got a 363 Dart SHP block we're gonna build. I'm gonna bring you guys back intermittently, like as I start getting stuff apart, blah, 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 because I gotta fire up the old cancer cannon over there. And I mean, it is brittle here. So we're gonna try this. We're gonna get as much as we can done. It is around the Christmas season, so we just wanna get what we can done in the time we got and see if this thing's as bad. Also, just a PFA, if you're a racer guy, make sure you drain the water, because he dropped this thing off and it had a little bit of water still in it, and I had to hurry up and rush drain it. He forgot that my garage, I don't heat if I'm not out here, just because of, you know, the fuel costs. But just a PFA. But we'll see how this thing goes. I already checked end play's good. I didn't see anything that surprises me, but it's just time. Other pet peeve of mine, socket head screws. These things suck. For some reason, they're butter soft all the time. If you're building a race car, most people have socket sets. Most people don't have Allen head screw sets. So just a PFA, maybe don't use those. Alright guys, sorry for the noise, but I'm not shutting it off. We got up to 42 in here, and it's still pretty cold. So, and the bad lighting too. That's unexcusable. We can fix that. Alright, so we got it apart. This thing, we locked out the phasers, so there's no variable cam on it. It does have E85 compatible guides, so far everything's looking all right. It does have the heavy duty chains and stuff. I do remember we put those in. We're gonna keep going now. Interesting thing though, so you did leak it down and everything, and it was getting to where it was just a little bit tired. The plugs don't look all that bad. There is some difference, something going on with, and this is, remember we're in Ford land here, so something going on with number 5 there. A little bit of extra going on. I don't know if it's a factor of the manifold or not, but we'll figure that out in a minute. Alright, so we got the heads about ready to come off. One thing I noticed was the right side tensioner was actually broken, and he did say every once in a while he had a startup noise, so there's that. I guess it's also a phenomenon with these Coyotes. The back cam cap bolts were loose again, and I guess these guys are breaking them sometimes on high horsepower stuff, so there's the thing. One of the head bolts was extremely tight, which has me a little bit concerned, but the bearing journals all look good. Everything like that looks good. I don't see any metal, I don't see any debris, so I'll get you guys back as soon as I pull the heads off. Alright, so we got a few small issues. Let me get a light again. I gotta get my lighting guy to start fixing some stuff here. So the left bank looks pretty good. I don't see, I mean, there's some wear in it. Some streaks here and there. Nothing. Crosshatch is completely gone, but it's an E85 car, and I'm sure it's been fuel washed quite a few times. But overall, pretty good. The right bank, however, she got a little bit hot. She got a little bit toasty. There's some marks in every cylinder. This definitely got a little bit warmer. The tops of the pistons towards the intake valves, which is always a sure sign that you were getting a little bit after the tune-up, is a little bit melty. I wouldn't say it's terrible, but I'm not going to say it's great either. So your heat will always be on your exhaust side. The torch effect will happen on your intake side, and that's what we see here. So the right bank, she wasn't 100% happy. It was getting after it, but nothing that is the end of the world yet. So I'll bring you guys back when we start tearing apart the bottom end. Alright, so we got the bottom end apart. Not apart, but uncovered. Labeled everything. Spins over nicely. I don't feel any badness yet. You can see we did have to weld in weight to fill in the crank to get it balanced. I know there's 99 guys on the internet that are going to say that isn't the way, we should add a tungsten. Well, the holes were there, they just needed filled. Again, 9,500 RPM, and the guy felt nothing. So I'm going to go with it works, and I'm going to keep doing it. I don't see any bowed or bent rods. I don't see any that are turning color. So once I get it apart, I'll bring you guys back and we'll look at the bearings. All right, so we got the pistons and rods out. We got some of the main caps pulled. The bearings overall aren't that bad. The crank is starting to flex a little bit. You can see the ends look good and the middles look a little bit more beat. Not bad. What I do start to see though is you see the high shiny spots. The caps are starting to fret a little bit, just probably from the horsepower level. I don't know if we can have them pinned to help that, or you know, it's just the way it is. So not bad. I think the crank honestly could be polished and sent back into duty, maybe loosen it up just a hair more. The pistons themselves, again, a little bit of skirt wear, but really not as bad as you would consider it to be. Looking at the rings and everything, you can see the tune-up got after it a little bit. You can see a little bit of marking on the rings where they were detonating a little bit. The bearings aren't too bad. I don't see anything bent, anything weird. They might be able to get away with having these coated. I'm not sure about that. The bores are a little wiped out by the time we hone them. Again, this guy probably just needs to honestly change his oil a little bit more often, because there was a lot of fuel that came out of the oil, and the cold start tune must be a little bit rich, or wide open must be a little bit rich. But other than that, for 2 to 2.5 years of what he's been doing, I'm not mad at it. The cam journals all look great. You know, realistically, a refresh and the thing is good to go. So for what's been done, other than that tensioner coming apart, I don't know how common that is in the Coyote world, but this tensioner came apart. I actually found the clip that holds it down in the pan. So that's a little bit unnerving, but other than that, it's not too bad. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll get together after I start going through this 363 block next, and we'll get ready for that build up. Should be a fun one. It's a teenager's dream car build. You know, it's going in a Fox body with a Vortec on it. So it should be a fun little build for the guy. Thanks for watching.